In the fairy kingdom of Etheria, the skies were always filled with the graceful flight of its queen, Queen Alara. Known for her dazzling wings that shimmered like the finest glass under sunlight, Alara was admired for her strength, wisdom, and independence. She had led Etheria for many years, always soaring high above her subjects, keeping watch over the enchanted lands, and never needing help from anyone. Her wings had always been her pride and joy, a symbol of her power and leadership. But as Alara would soon discover, even the strongest wings can falter. One morning, as Alara flew over the crystal meadows, a sudden gust of wind, unlike anything she had felt before, swept through the sky. It came so unexpectedly and with such force that Alara was thrown off balance. She struggled to regain control, but her right wing hit the sharp edge of a towering crystal spire. A sharp pain shot through her, and she plummeted to the ground. When she opened her eyes, she found herself surrounded by worried fairies. She tried to stand and flutter her wings, but something was wrong. Her right wing was bent at an odd angle, and the pain was unbearable. Her beautiful, powerful wings, her symbol of strength, were broken. "I'm fine," Alara said through gritted teeth as she tried to rise. "I can take care of myself." But when she tried to fly, her wings wouldn't lift her. She crashed back to the ground, more hurt and frustrated than ever. The fairies who gathered around offered to help, but Alara waved them away. "A queen doesn't need help," she muttered, determined to solve the problem on her own. She limped back to her palace, hiding her injury from the rest of her kingdom. Days passed, and Queen Alara kept her broken wing hidden. She told no one and tried to continue ruling from the ground. But life without flying was harder than she imagined. She could no longer visit the treetops where the fruit grew, or the high cliffs where the magical flowers bloomed. She felt cut off from her own kingdom. Worse still, the weight of her responsibility seemed heavier now that she couldn't soar above it all. Despite her efforts, the fairies in the kingdom noticed her absence from the skies. Whispers spread throughout Etheria. What was wrong with their queen? Why hadn't she flown in days? One afternoon, as Alara struggled to gather berries from a low bush, she overheard two young fairies talking nearby. "I heard the queen can't fly anymore," one said softly. "Maybe she needs help," the other replied. Alara's heart sank. She had always been the one to help her people, not the other way around. How could she, a queen, admit that she needed help? That night, Alara wandered into the Forest of Echoes, where she often went to think in peace. The forest was home to an ancient owl named Orin, known for his wisdom. As she sat beneath a large oak tree, Orin flew down from his perch and landed beside her. "You've been quiet lately, Queen Alara," Orin said, his golden eyes gleaming in the moonlight. "What troubles you?" Alara hesitated. She had always been proud of her independence, but now, the weight of her broken wing felt too heavy to bear alone. "My wing is broken," she finally admitted, looking away. "I can't fly anymore, but I don't want anyone to know. I should be able to handle this myself," Orin hooted softly. "Even the strongest trees bend in the wind, Alara, and even the mightiest leaders need help sometimes. There is no shame in accepting support from those who care about you." Alara sighed. "But I've always been the one to help others. How can I show weakness?" "True strength is not in doing everything alone," Orin replied gently. "It is in knowing when to lean on others. Your kingdom is filled with fairies who love and respect you. Let them help you heal, just as you have helped them." Alara sat in silence, thinking over Orin's words. Perhaps he was right. Perhaps being a queen wasn't about always being strong. It was about knowing when to accept help. The next morning, Alara gathered her courage and called for a meeting in the palace garden. The fairies gathered, their wings fluttering softly as they waited to hear their queen speak. Alara stood before them, her broken wing still hidden beneath her cloak. "I have always tried to be a strong leader for you," she began. "But the truth is, even queens can fall. My wing is broken, and I have been too proud to ask for help, but I see now that I cannot heal on my own. I need your support." There was a moment of silence, and then the fairies stepped forward, their eyes filled with understanding and compassion. Lila, one of the healers, approached and gently touched Alara's wing. "We can help you, Your Majesty," she said with a kind smile, "but you must let us." Alara nodded, feeling a weight lift from her heart. For the first time in days, she felt a sense of relief. The fairies worked together, using healing herbs and their magic to mend Alara's wing. Each fairy contributed, some offering healing spells, others bringing comfort and encouragement. As the days passed, Alara's wings slowly healed. She allowed herself to lean on her kingdom, and in doing so she discovered a new strength, one that came from the bond she shared with her people. Finally, the day came when Alara felt ready to fly again. With her kingdom gathered below, she stood at the edge of the palace balcony. She took a deep breath and spread her wings. Slowly, she lifted into the air, her wings shimmering in the sunlight once more. The fairies below cheered, their wings fluttering joyfully as they watched their queen soar above them. Alara smiled, her heart light as she flew higher and higher. She had learned that strength wasn't about doing everything alone. It was about knowing when to ask for help and accepting the love and support of others. From that day on, Queen Alara ruled not only with wisdom and strength, but also with the humility to accept help when she needed it. And her kingdom, knowing they were truly part of their queen's heart, flourished like never before.